Well, today I'm wearing my Cambodian scarf called a krama, and I have my little Cambodian puppy puppet. I'm here to read you a book about the country of Cambodia. It's a long way from here. In fact, on the first page of this book, you'll get to see a map that shows us just how far it is from, well, it starts in Canada, but Canada is very close to us, whereas Cambodia is very far away. You can see on the map how far it is. This story was written by my friend Marie Ens, and she has spent most of her adult life in Cambodia, though she is originally from Canada. All right, let's begin. Susie's journey to her forever home is the first page. Suzie opened her eyes and looked around her. 5 identical balls of golden fur lay curled up nearby in their snug spot under the stairs at Farmer Newdorf's house in Saskatchewan, Canada. Suzie snuggled close to them contentedly. "This is my forever home," she murmured as she fell asleep. Suzie did not know that Farmer Newdorf had put an ad in the newspaper that said "Golden Retriever Puppies for Sale." That night, a grandma and her granddaughter jumped into their car and drove down a long gravel road to buy Suzie. After a long drive, they saw some lights in the distance. Two beautiful big golden retriever dogs came bounding up to the car, wagging their tails. "We would like a little girl puppy," said the grandma. Farmer Newdorf reached under the stairs and pulled out a very cute little puppy. It was Suzie. "Ah," said the daughter. "Ah," said the grandma. "Suzie is perfect. We want to adopt her." The grandma and her daughter cuddled Suzie close and took her on a long car ride into the city. They stopped in a parking lot and put Suzie down on the hard cement. She was so scared. She crawled under a big car and sat there trembling. Soon they arrived at the big house where Grandma's 3 grandchildren lived. Those children loved Suzie. "Sit, Suzie, sit," they said, and the tiny puppy sat down and waited for a treat. Suzie was happy again, and she thought, "This is my forever home." But one cold winter day, the children sadly put Suzie in a pretty red kennel. They put Suzie's favorite blanket and toys in there with her. They drove her to the airport. Suzie was put into a big airplane and went high into the sky. She was very lonely and frightened and whined, but no one paid attention to her. "Will I ever find my forever home?" she wondered sadly as she put her head on her paws and fell asleep. Far away in Cambodia, a mother had a baby. "I will name this beautiful baby Nai," she decided. Nai snuggled up to her mother. She felt safe and cozy and thought, "This will be my forever home." But Nai's mother was very poor and sick with a terrible disease called AIDS. She and Nai lived in a tiny house. Then one day, the mother got very sick and could not work. It was not long before they had to leave their little house where they lived because they could not pay the rent. They had to live and sleep beside the street. Every day, Nai had to beg people for money so that they could eat. She slipped into restaurants and crept up to people who were enjoying their food. "I'm hungry. Please give me some money for food," she would say with a sad face. Sometimes someone would smile at her and give her a few pennies. Nai watched other children. She wished she could be like them and wear a bright white blouse and a pretty blue skirt and go to school. She wished she could eat the good food. She wished she had a bike. She wished she lived in a house. She walked sadly back to the place in the street where her sick mother lay. Is this my forever home? She wondered as she fell asleep beside her mother under their mosquito net. Suzie landed someplace very, very hot. She saw coconut palm trees, beautiful temples, and people who looked different from any she had ever seen before. Suzie was in Thailand. A man lifted up her kennel and put her in a big storage room, and then he walked away. "Oh, I hope this is not my forever home," said Suzie. In Cambodia, Nai woke up and got ready to go out to beg again. She was dirty and hungry and sad. She looked up and saw a woman walking down the street toward her. The woman looked at Nai and her sick mother. "Would you like to come stay at the hospital?" she asked. Nai was so glad to go with the woman to a place where her mother could be cared for. "Maybe this will be my forever home," she thought hopefully as she lay beside her mother on a clean and comfortable bed. After a few days, the woman said, "This is a hospital, so it isn't a place where a little girl can live. I want to take you and your mother to another place." The woman helped Nai and her sick mother into a car and drove them out of the city, past rice fields and water lily ponds. Nai wondered where in the world they were going. After a while, Nai came to a big sign that said Rescue Orphanage. Nai was afraid to see so many strangers, but soon she heard kind voices. A smiling lady named Sokan showed her a little thatch house with a tiled floor where she and her mother could stay. Nai and her mom were given pretty, clean clothes to put on. Nai's eyes sparkled when she saw her white blouse and blue skirt. She knew that she was going to be able to go to school like the other children. There were many other children who welcomed Nai and showed her around her new home. Nai made friends. She did not have to spend all day begging for money. Then a grandma from Canada came and smiled at Nai. That same grandma who had bought Suzie. Well, now Suzie was put on another plane and ended up in another storage room. "This is no fun," said Suzie. "Will I ever get to my forever home?" Then someone said, "Hello, Suzie." It was Grandma. Suzie was so excited. She wagged her tail and licked Grandma's fingers. Grandma took Suzie from the kennel. Then Grandma took Suzie in her car and drove to a sign that said Rescue Orphanage. Suzie jumped out of the car and looked around her. Kids! Lots of kids! They reminded Suzie of the children who had been so kind to her in Canada, and she dashed off to join them. Suzie ran after one little girl. Oh, look who it is. The little girl knelt down and put her arms around Suzie's neck. "Hello, Suzie," whispered Nai. "Welcome to Rescue Orphanage in Cambodia. Welcome to our forever home." And that's the end of the story. But I wanted to show you some pictures that I have from my time in Cambodia as well, and get you to see some of the things that I saw. What is an orphanage? Marie came to the preschool where I work to tell us all about that. An orphanage is a home where children can stay and be safe when their parents die. As Marie read this same story to us, she explained that Rescue gave Nai and her mother a safe place to stay when Nai's mom was very sick. And when her mom died, Nai became the very first orphan at Rescue Orphanage. Over the course of my 3 weeks in Cambodia 10 years ago, I was blessed to get to see 2 of the orphanages run by Rescue. Marie herself gave me a tour of the first, and I even got to meet Suzie. Then our group went on to a second rescue orphanage, where the children told us they had been praying for us since they heard we were coming. I love the way Cambodian people pray, each with their own words, all at once, lifting up a chorus to God. The children at that second orphanage also sang songs for us. My heart was full as I watched the children wave and cheer as our van drove away. If you want to learn more about rescue orphanages, look at the links in the description of this video.